In this episode, is eating healthy really that much more expensive? Is it more expensive than anal probes? Oh, those are so expensive. Is it really worth it? Is it? Put the Snickers bar down.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Test, Ickles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 641 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, broadcast, beercast, gamecast, mancast, pumpcast, and nipplecast. 2 nipplecasts, lefty and righty. Woo-hoo. In the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome, Gain Train. Welcome, pump friends. Welcome, pump fiends, to the Swolecast, episode 641. Because when Papa Swolio flexes, we all flex our biceps. When you flex, I flex, and then I pinch my nips. Welcome to 641. What's going on? Instagram and Facebook Live. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And also those of you that rape your ear holes with the podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. So make sure, if you're not following all the episodes on the Sleaze Cloud and Apple Slutcast, make sure you do so you can catch up on all your Daily Swole needs, especially when you're driving and when you're doing things that are less important than watching the show. You should always be watching. No, you just got to consume it. Eat it. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you tag someone and tell someone today in person, text them and be like, yo, you have to check out this fucking bearded freak on the interwebs. Trust me, bro. Trust me, girl. You have to check this guy out because he's a fucking psychopath. So today's episode, we're going to talk about healthy food and unhealthy food, about this perception, and is healthier food really more expensive? A lot of the questions I've been getting, because we talk a lot about nutrition. We've been talking about healthy fats. We've been talking about grass-fed this, organic that. What's really most important? What's really going on with the food industry? Are we really overpaying? Are we really underpaying? Are we mentally making it more expensive? We'll have that discussion. I just want to put some things out there. I have a couple things, a little research and like a study or so here that can bring up some good conversation. I want all of you to drop some comments below, and we obviously can continue this conversation moving forward, because eating healthy and eating the right foods is obviously important. Eating the right foods is obviously important. And what I want to make clear is the short-term benefits versus the long-term benefits, or the short-term satisfaction, or the idea that it's more costly. And oftentimes it's nowhere near as expensive as you think it is, and depends on what you're eating. So let's get into it. Let me say hi to the family first on Instagram and Facebook. What's going on, Brooke? What's going on, Delea Young Jr.? That Yellow Bug, Tom Mays, Aaron Bertani, Cisco, Aaron Johnson on Facebook. Aaron Johnson, let's update the Google Play service with a podcast. It's only up to 500 some. That might be an old podcast. I actually never submitted it to Google Play, so I'll do that. I'll look into it. But the actual podcast is on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast. That's probably Swolenormous audio that you're referring to, which I do little snippets, and I stopped uploading because they got a little bit weird with how they uploaded files. So it doesn't make sense for me to upload it to 2 places. So I'll look into that. But yeah, make sure you follow on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. So if you have an Android, SoundCloud is the way to go. Super easy. It's an app. Boom, you hit the button, you listen to it. Muscle Millions, what up, Solio? What up? So let's get into this episode. 641. Happy Tuesday, is it? Happy Tuesday. So when it comes to the research, when it comes to eating healthy, there was really no test that was done. There really aren't a lot of things out there that say this is a fact. So the first part, and I want to know who of you shop at Whole Foods or you buy organic. Obviously, when you go to those stores, a lot of the products will seem more expensive. Like the number or the price of something that's organic will be at a higher price, or it'll be at a similar price, but you'll get less volume. It'll be less ounces. So per ounce, it'll be more expensive. Now, there's some studies that were done and like questionnaires and tests, like where they would give people two objects or two, food items and ask them which one they thought was healthier. And more often than not, people would associate the higher price with the healthier product. And when they manipulated the prices in the study and in the test, they would lower something, let's say it was $2 or $3, and they lowered it to 99 cents, that people were more skeptical of the health claims that were on that food product because it was quote unquote too good to be true, right? The price was too good to offer, in their view. The price was too low for the health claims of that, so they couldn't have been healthy because it was too cheap, right? It was it was too cheap for it to be that good. So the correlation between price and quality are not perfect, but we still use price to judge quality. So if you think about a car, okay, and you look at two cars, because nowadays, obviously a Kia or a Hyundai is a lot different than a Hyundai 15 years ago or a Kia 10 or 15 years ago. Obviously, a lot of cars now are more on the same level. And I think we could all agree that something like a base level car, like an entry level car, is a much higher quality than a base level car 10, 15 years ago. Things have gotten a lot better for the cost. So when you look at a price tag of a car, you're associating it more with value and quality. When you go to buy a sofa, when you go to buy a shirt. However, if you took two t-shirts, and let's just use this for an example, it's important to get the concept of this right, because if we talk about food, everyone's going to have their own opinions. But you'll see a t-shirt sometimes, right? You'll see a t-shirt for 75, 80 bucks. Let's say it's an Armani t-shirt. It's really a t-shirt. Okay, it's a t-shirt. There are soft t-shirts that are a fraction of the price. So then you'll see another white t-shirt. Let's say it's Hanes Fruit of the Loom or something, and it's $5. Okay, you put them right next to each other. You see t-shirt and t-shirt, and you're looking at two white t-shirts. You might not overprice that one to $80. I mean, does that $80 price tag mean that shirt is so much better? Do you associate that with being a quality price, or do you associate that with being robbery? And the reason why the psychology comes into play is because with marketing and with pricing, it does come into that psych game big time. We are expecting more expensive food when we go to eat healthy. So if you are looking for a higher quality food, if you're looking for the best health properties out of your food, right? You want to get the best thing possible. You're going in, and what these articles are saying, you're going in expecting the price to be higher. So when you go in and you see the price that's higher, you're fine with paying it. Whether or not you're overpaying for it is relative. Like all these organic foods or organic blueberries that might be $7 as opposed to the conventional for $3, you are either going to splurge for that, or you're going to buy the other one based on are the nutritional values of both of them that much different? You could find studies both ways saying that, organic has no nutritional value that's better than conventional. You also find other studies like, it's sprayed with all these things. Organic food is sprayed with things too, by the way. Organic food and organic fruit is not grown like on fucking Asgard, or, you know, freaking whatever that planet was, in Avatar. It's not grown in this magical world where bugs don't attack them. Blueberries get hammered. If you ever tried growing a berry or a grape or something in your backyard, it's like next to impossible. You gotta spray the living fuck out of these things. So whether it's organic or not, you're still spraying the shit out of them. You're just spraying the shit out of these fruit plants with things that are classified as, I'm putting quotes over everything, organic, whatever that is. I don't have the list of the chemicals, but deemed by the government, deemed by the law as organic, or they degrade within a certain period of time, whatever defines that. It's not that important right now. So part of what makes these things more expensive is that we expect them to be more expensive. So we accept that fact. If we don't pay the price, if everyone goes into Whole Foods and says, I'm not paying $3 for that, the price will come down, or they'll go out of business. And we all know this, right? Or Whole Foods will carry a product that the margin, they can still make money off $2.50, and then people will come back in and buy that product instead. So let me go through this other study. It was done a few years ago at Harvard, and this was done by the Harvard School of Public Health. And this shows that the healthiest diets, and of course, when you say healthy, and just take this with a grain of salt, because when I say the word healthy, you know, everyone's idea of what healthy is different, right? We've talked about that last few days. Some of it is going to be vegan. Some people want to do high fat. Everyone has their own idea of what healthy is. So I'll explain. They're talking more about fruits, vegetables, and nuts, like the general classic healthy stuff. This isn't about like grass-fed beef, which I understand, you know, it can get much more expensive. But the healthiest diets cost about $1.50 more per day than the least healthy diets, according to research from the Harvard School of Public Health. This is in the end of 2013, so this is about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. And this is a quote: "People often say that healthier foods are more expensive and that such costs strongly limit better diet habits. But until now, the scientific evidence for this idea has not been systematically evaluated, nor have the actual differences in cost been characterized." And that goes in line with what we've been talking about for the past few days, in the past week or so, about studies that are not accurate. We just say things and we see things and we just believe them to be fact. So because we think that price and more expensive prices relate to better quality, we expect that when we go to the store and then we see more expensive prices and we just kind of think, okay, that makes sense. And we go on with our lives. And eating healthy is expensive. I can't eat healthy. I got 4 kids. And so you have a couple options. You can either have less children and then you have more money for food, or you start looking at these things objectively and realize that it might not be that much more expensive than you think it is. $1.50 a day comes out to $45 a month. Pretty much everyone can afford $45 a month, $1.50 a day. And most of you are drinking coffee from Starbucks, you're buying a Monster energy drink, you're spending $1.50 at some point. Maybe you don't spend anything extra for 2 days, and then you spend $10 on a movie ticket or something. A lot of you are spending much more than that and just literally wasting away. Unless you're doing really strict budgeting, most of you are pissing away so much extra money. You make so many fucking excuses and justifications for things that you want and entertainment. Oh, I like this shirt. Oh, but I deserve it, or this. You waste so much fucking money. You waste so much money. If you really look at it, the amount of money you waste on the things that you really don't need, it's ridiculous. It's really intense. So people think that the food is more expensive. So because we think it's more expensive and because we assume that price equals quality, when we go into the Whole Foods and we see $10 blueberries or whatever it is, we just accept it. And we figure that's the way it is. So right now, while I'm finishing going through this study, this article, and just finishing my thoughts, let's get that discussion going. What do you find? What have you found with eating healthy? And I'll finish this whole conversation with my final, I wouldn't say nail in the coffin, but my final point about eating healthy, especially short-term, long-term. So what they did was in the study, they evaluated the differences in prices per serving per 200 calories for certain types of foods and prices per day, blah, blah, blah. So for overall diet patterns, both prices per serving and per calorie were assessed because prices can vary depending on the unit. So they neutralized, they evened the playing field to make sure that it wasn't skewed. And the researchers found that the healthier diet patterns, and this is how they associate, I just want to make it clear, this is what they defined as a healthier diet pattern. So anytime you look at a study that says the word, and they define it as healthy, if they use a word healthy in the study, in the definition section of the study, they're going to define what healthy means. Because if I say healthy, and this is what I found from having conversations with all of you, that my idea of healthy and my idea of lifting heavy and my idea of training hard and my idea of being consistent is a lot different than what you think. My idea of eating healthy is far different than what most people think eating healthy is. So the researchers found that the healthier diet patterns, diets rich in fruits, vegetables, fish, and nuts. Okay? That's what the article says. It's summarizing it, just reading it word for word. Cost significantly more. So those diets that are rich in fruits, vegetables, fish, and nuts cost significantly more than unhealthy diets. For example, those that are rich in processed foods, meats, refined grains. Processed foods, meats. I'm not sure if they meant processed meats because, like I mentioned before, grass-fed beef and those types of things are not necessarily unhealthy. But refined grains, processed foods, we know that's junk, right? On average, a day's worth of the most healthy diet patterns costs about $1.50 more per day. Now, if you say significantly more, reading an article like this can be a little bit confusing because when we think of the word significant, it's like, wow, massively more. Significance in a scientific study means like pretty much a pattern. You'll see, oh, there's enough of a difference to show that there's a study here, essentially, right? So a significant difference or a significant increase or that it costs significantly more, obviously $1.50 a day is really not that much more. Of course, if you don't have a lot of money, $45 a month might be like, oh my God. But for most of us, $45 you could find, in between your seat cushions over the course of a month because it's $1.50 a day or $2, $60 a month. You can cut back on how much cable TV you watch. There's a lot of things that, when you break it down per day, it's not that bad. But a significantly more, that concept is a scientific term. So there's a significance, there's a significant difference. It just means that the study showed a difference. And the researchers suggested that unhealthy diets may cost less because food policies have focused on the production of, quote, inexpensive, high volume commodities that has led to a complex network of farming, storage, transportation, processing, manufacturing, and marketing capabilities that favor sales of highly processed food products for maximal industry profit. Wow, no shit. You don't say. You don't say. That's why it costs less, because corn is subsidized by the government, because blah, 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 and vegetable oils and all the stuff that we've been talking about. So you see how it's, okay, obviously the researchers suggested, yeah, that's pretty much true, but obviously they can't state this is fact, this is fact. And any quality scientist and any quality study makes it clear that you'll realize whenever you read a study or you read an article that's unbiased, that is describing a study, there's never like, this is proof, this is proof. It's researchers suggested, they found this leads to this, there's a significant difference, this is significantly more. It's never, this is more expensive because of this. Any quality science and any quality study and any quality abstract or article based on a study is never speaking from the sense of conclusion. It's never, this is it. We did this. That shows it. It just shows the difference. And if you do one study, does that mean that it's automatically more expensive? No. I mean, I think we can probably have a good guess, like a hypothesis, And that's what you do. That's what a scientific study is. You test a hypothesis. I hypothesize that healthy food is more expensive. Okay, well, let's test it. How are we going to test it? Well, we're going to take 30 adult males. We're going to take 30 adult, and then you do the study. And then you make sure it has a loopholes, you're the testing, the process, the inter-rater reliability. You're going to have, the repeatability and the accuracy and the controls and whatever. So that's the science of it. But it's never conclusive. So then if you find these significant differences, it's like, oh shit, we should do another study on this again. Let's do studies on meat, grass-fed versus this, so then it leads to other studies that might show the same result. So then if you do one study, okay, it shows a result. You do 3 more, those 4 all show the same result. Well, let's keep going. You do 5, 10, 20, 30. The more studies you do that show this same pattern, that show this same displacement, that show the same psychological approach to food, then you start getting closer to what we would call a fact, or something that's more causation, or more conclusive. So you don't jump to a conclusion. A study just exposes, oh, this has shown what we thought. This leads us further down that road of, this is the way it is. Doesn't mean that it is the way it is. So that's where you get those studies and those epidemiological studies on food and those food surveys that, the saturated fat, and they get blown out of proportion because it's just a survey that is inaccurate. And then people show these 2 numbers, then, this is the reason. And then you go try lynching, or you go, with your pitchforks and stuff, and you go scapegoat on a certain food stuff like saturated fat. And then you go down that road, and, we're down that road. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the last several episodes for the last week or 2, and you'll be caught up to speed on all the vegetable oil stuff that we've been talking about. So this research provides the most complete picture to date on true cost differences of healthy diets. This is a quote from the senior author of the study. Quote, while healthier diets did cost more, the difference was smaller than many people might have expected. Over the course of a year, $1.50 per day more for eating a healthy diet would increase food costs for one person by about $550 per year. This would represent a real burden for some families, and we need policies to help offset these costs. On the other hand, this price difference is very small in comparison to the economic costs of diet-related chronic diseases, which would be dramatically reduced by healthy diets. So that was my closing statement. And I think I'm going to read that one more time, because I know you're listening, but think about that one more time. So even though healthier diets did cost more, $1.50 a day comes out to about $550 per year. Like I mentioned, for some people, that could be, oh my God, that's really expensive. I can barely afford that. This price difference, again, quote, this price difference is very small in comparison to the economic costs of diet-related chronic diseases, which would be dramatically reduced by healthy diets. And those of you that are watching live on Instagram or Facebook, you can see behind me, anal probes are expensive. Yeah, anal probes are expensive. Medical shit is super expensive. So if you think about $500, $600 a year to eat healthier foods, let's say that's the difference. Let's say, okay, I'm eating unhealthy. I want to eat healthy. Boom, $600 a year. A year difference. A year. $1.50 a day. One visit. Let's say you don't have insurance. You go to the doctor one time. That's $300, $150 easy. You want some medication? $100, $200. So that's already the difference. Now, if you're paying monthly, if you're paying for health insurance, or you're on blood pressure medication or diabetes meds, how much is that per month without insurance? $1,000 a month without insurance, $500 a month without insurance. And if you paying with insurance and your copay is $30 or $50 for the meds, how much is your monthly insurance? Do you know how much it costs to get health insurance for a family of 3 people, of 4 people, of 5 people, a couple thousand a month, right? What, $1,000 a month for health insurance? More? I don't know. It depends on all the details in your health history and all that stuff, right? Super expensive. Super expensive. So, I mean, I just throw out some numbers. It could be 500. It doesn't matter. I mean, for a monthly payment, that's a car payment. That's a mortgage. It's a mortgage. It's a fucking mortgage. So even if your insurance, your medical insurance for your family is $400 a month, that's a car payment. That's rent. That's, that's your cell phone. That's this. That's some of your business. That's shoes for your entire family, for your kids for 6 months. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of, it's just money that you could spend elsewhere. So the long term, and I have a lot of conversations with people about injuries and about nutrition because of situations that conversations with you, situations that you're currently in, whether it's you have diabetes or you have high blood pressure, you have issues that you're taking care of. Anna Gonzalez, $1,500 for a family of 4. That's fucked up shit. Way more. Insulin is, Mike Stuttle, way more. Insulin is $421 a bottle. And you need like 6 to 7 a month, not including blood strips, doctor visits, etc. So when you see that insulin is $421 a bottle, and I'm sure that varies, but we can assume it's at least a couple hundred, right? You are spending the difference according to this study. And of course, the difference, it's just $550 a year, according to this, even if it's $1,000 difference a year. Okay, let's say to eat healthy, let's say this study was off by half. Let's say it's $1,000. You're blowing that with those 2 bottles of insulin, $850 plus a doctor's visit. That's $1,000 right there. That's the difference. And you said 6 to 7 bottles, and was with only 2. So you do 6 or 7 bottles, you're right, 2 or 3 grand. $24 for what my mom takes, no insurance. $24. Okay, so let's use that for an example. On Facebook, Samantha Turner, $24 for what my mom takes, no insurance. Okay, so $24 a month is a little bit under $1 a day. It's not much different than $1.50 a day for healthier food. Just to compare. So maybe if your mom was, not saying, of course, if your mom ate, fruit and nuts, she wouldn't have her medication, but you get the point. So we have the choice now, especially if you're healthy, or at least with blood work and with all your situation, you're healthy right now. You have the ability to make those decisions that can affect the rest of your life, that can affect your outcome, that can affect whether you're getting anal probed when you're 50, whether you're on insulin meds, whether you're going to the doctor regularly because you have, or you're on medication. A lot of these things can be prevented. Not all. If you break your leg playing sports or you hurt yourself in the gym, then okay, that has nothing to do with your food. It could have to do with your training, maybe your sleep, maybe your form. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of randomness in our lives. You can't prevent all of it. I'm not saying you're not going to have other expenses, but to say that you can't eat healthy because it's too expensive, just this study in itself is showing that it's really not that much more. And it's nowhere near the cost of medical issues. It's far less. So it's short-term and long-term. You might have to pay a little bit more upfront on certain things. If you want a grass-fed beef, you might have to pay a little bit more. Instead of spending $4 a pound, you might have to spend $8 a pound. But you're also not necessarily pounding beef all the time. And if you're getting more nutrient-dense foods with higher fat, that's why, and this is why I really feel like it correlates very, very well with what we've been talking about with nutrition. If you're getting better fats and you're getting more nutrient-dense foods, you're going to be more full. You're going to be more satisfied. More nutrient-dense foods are going to be more satisfying. You're going to be more satiated because of the value. If you're eating chips, you're eating soda, you're eating candy, you're not getting nutrition in there, and your body is still going to be hungry for real food. So you end up spending a lot more technically and potentially with junk food, because not only are you spending money on food, you're not getting the food value of that food. So you're spending whatever you were spending. So let's say you're saving $1.50 a day by eating junk food. You're also not getting a lot of nutrients. So you're kind of almost swinging a wiffle ball bat instead. Let's tell the hotties you're on live, no calls. Yeah, that was a random number. I usually put on do not disturb. So let's take some questions. That's a good article. Let's see. And the funding was from a neutral source. Of course, this was done through Harvard. So funding for the study came from a Genes and Environment Initiative grant, a National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, Cardiovascular Epidemiology, training grant in behavior, the environment, and global health, and from a National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases training grant in academic nutrition. So this was published in December of 2013. So this is one study. And I think it kind of confirms what we thought. Okay, healthier food is more expensive, but how much more? Because if you're looking at blueberries, that might be $3 versus $7. That's one product. You could make other choices. There are other choices. Whether or not it's organic versus conventional, that's a whole other conversation. Which one's better for you? Which one's more nutrient dense, and those are for other studies, and that's very sketchy area as well too, because a lot of people have different beliefs there. So that doesn't necessarily mean per food. It's for the foods that they used, but the point is that you're potentially spending more in the long run. So what's it worth to you now? What's your health worth now? A little bit extra money. And in the long term, are you going to be dealing with a lot of issues that you could have been prevented by spending $1 a day more on average? Instagram, your thoughts on local farmers markets. It depends. Sometimes local farmers markets sometimes they might have their products in supermarkets. Sometimes they are conventional. Sometimes they're organic. You can usually find a lot less expensive food at farmers markets, so you'd have to go and see. I think farmers markets are great. Those are popular. You could probably find them. You could also, ways to save some money. I know it's winter in a lot of places, but if you've never heard of it or looked up those local co-ops, does anyone here like get a share of local in-season vegetables or fruits and stuff from your local co-op? If you don't know what that is, you can message me or you can Google it. And what it is kind of like a membership club with farmers and with people in your area, in your region, and you get deliveries on a weekly or monthly basis, or however that works. I mean, it depends on the club. And you might spend $20 a month, $30 a month, and you get half a share or a full share or whatever, what is like a cardboard box or a crate of whatever they're picking at the time. So let's say carrots are in season and broccoli's in season and this, you'll get that every month. Valerie, co-ops are actually expensive. You can't say that. You can't say it's actually expensive. Did you do the math? Have you done a study on that to show the comparison? Expensive is relative. So yeah, you might spend $50. So you might be like, wow, this is $50. That's a lot. But it could be with the volume, it could be less expensive. So near me it is, but you can't just say that. That's the thing. And I'm not saying you were wrong, but I'm saying that statement is just, it's expensive. What does that mean? That's subjective. You're not giving any numbers or data or stats, but that's what happens. We just start saying these things and we just think these things like, oh, it's more expensive. How? Did you weigh it out? Did you actually go to your store? Did you weigh it per gram, per calorie? Did you do out the cost per calorie of the food? Did you do the study? And like literally, that's where the research comes in, because you might do the math with your co-op and those prices and those foods and find out that it's $1 more a day or $1 less. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. I thought blah, blah, blah. Sometimes up front, I might say, wow, this is maybe your co-op doesn't do monthly. Maybe it's $300 for the year. Maybe it's near 1,000 per share per season. A share is like per season. Per season. Well, how long? I mean, you mean like, so you're calling a share your overall, every delivery you ever get that season is one share. Okay, well, a share is also like a massive amount. I think one share is like for a family of 4 or 5. Okay, so you don't need, if you don't need that much, then it's not that expensive. Then it's 500 per season. If a season is 6 months, then you're spending $75 a month. Then you're spending $3, so $2 a day on, or $2.50 a day on vegetables and fruits. All the vegetables and fruits that you're going to need for, you don't need to go to the supermarket. So you're offsetting. I don't think it's as expensive as you think it is if you really do the math. That's a lot of veggies. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a lot of veggies for sure. But you see what I mean, fam? So like you really have to calculate it out. You might not need a full share, but most places do a quarter share or a half share, or you talk to a friend of yours and say, hey, I want to do this co-op. Do you want to split a share with me? Sure. 500, 500. And then over 6 months, you're spending $90 a month, which comes out to $3 a day. However, you're not spending that at your store. So $3 a day in this sense is what you're buying for food. This isn't the difference between healthy and unhealthy food. That's your food intake for it. So then you're done with veggies, or you're done. Maybe you just get some lettuce, but you're done with the majority of your veggies. Then you just get your protein. Then you might be spending, a lot less per month on food in general. So it could be much more effective. And those of you that have families, that have kids and say, well, my husband doesn't eat that way. My kids don't eat that way. Who the fuck is in charge of your house? Unless your kids want to go get a job and eat their own food, fuck. I don't have any kids, but I swear they're going to eat the fucking shit that I would feed them. Shut the fuck up. You don't want to eat it? Then you will starve to death. I don't think enough people starve their children. I don't think you starve your children enough. I think too many people fucking just feed, oh, well, Johnny doesn't like broccoli. Well, Johnny can suck a dick instead. Little Johnny can suck a cock. I really do think you have to, what happened to, oh, you don't want to eat dinner? Then you go to sleep hungry. Unless you have an allergy, like if you are allergic to peanut butter, like eat your peanut butter, but I'm going to die, Mom. Eat it. Shouldn't be eating peanut butter anyway. Obviously not good, but you know what I mean? If you have an allergic reaction, okay, but eat the food. Shut the fuck up and eat the food. Eat the food. Yes, you're the chef. And if you and your husband, but my husband doesn't eat that way, then tell him to go eat in the garage, or tell him to get the fuck on board. Cut his balls off. Like, get on the same page. Old school rules. I don't even know if is it old school? Don't be a pussy parent. Don't be a pussy parent. Make the food, eat the food, or don't eat the food, or go get a job and then go eat your own food. But this is what you're eating. If you don't have a job, you're eating this. Done. Done. Don't bring that shit into your house. Done. It's so simple. Like, who does the shopping? You're in charge. I try. My wife won't let me starve them. Well, starve your wife. Stop working. If you're the only one that's working, if you're in charge of the money, where'd the food money go? I don't know. I guess we'll have to get more veggies. I know everyone's got their own situation, but you know what I mean. Like, you got to get everyone on. You got to get people on board. Guacamikey on Instagram. I've done a co-op before. It was $10 and it was a pretty good sized box of assortment of produce. So $10. Of course, $1,000 per season for a share. It depends on the size. So what we're talking about before, about the $1,000 per season, I don't know what the accuracy of that number was or what the size of that share was, and how many months that covered. So some co-ops might do a monthly. Some of them might allow a quarter share, a half share, a full share. Some of it's by season. Some of it's like you pay a membership, like maybe $10 a month, and then you pay for the items extra, but it's like a discount, so you become a member. There's all different ways to do it. So you'd have to look up and see. But take some time, do the maths. You went to school, you went through the system. Government put you through the system. You know how to do the maths. Ask Siri or Alexa to do it for you, Alexa, off. You say her name and she freaks out. She's like, light goes on, like, yes. No. All right, let's do a couple more questions here. Crystal, Haha, 4 kids and they eat what I make. And you know what? They're developing great habits. That's it. Because you know what? You're the parent. That's right. You're the role model. You're the one that leads them. You tell them, they do. That's how it works. Otherwise, they don't do and they don't eat. What do you consider in season in frozen states like Ohio? When it's not frozen. I mean, if you're getting local, obviously you have to get local stuff that's in season. So someone said, what do I think of in-season fruits? In-season is the best way to consume fruits and vegetables because that's the way it's supposed to be done. When you're eating things out of season, it's because it's picked somewhere else and shipped. So chances are it's picked before it's ripe or it's picked before it's ready and it's ripened on the way. And the nutrients aren't the same in those fruits. So when you have to send something from 1,000 or 2,000 miles away, a lot of times there could be higher things like we've talked about lectin content. There could be other imbalances in micronutrients in the actual foods that can cause inflammation and issues with the body because it's not in season. It was picked somewhere else. In season fruits and veggies are usually all pretty fine because they're ripe and they're ready, and the plants actually reabsorb certain proteins and certain defense mechanisms when the fruit is ripe, like the balances change inside the fruit. So it encourages animals like us or creatures in the wild to not eat the fruit before it's ready to be picked, before it's ripe, because a tree is trying to reproduce itself. It wants to be ripe, so an animal picks it up, eats it, drops a seed somewhere, and another plant grows. It's just spreading the seed. It's like bees and pollen and stuff like that. El Vasquez, that's it. I just made a U-turn. My kid wanted pancakes. Now she's going to have broccoli and eggs just like daddy. There you go. There you go. Broccoli and eggs. Broccoli and eggs is great too. Spinach and eggs. Those things are great. Those are great. Anna, I said to my kids they can eat whatever the hell they want when they start paying for their own food. Why not, right? If you have a child, one of the hardest things is that when you have a child, you want them to eat healthy. You might feed them organic and blah, 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 and healthy their entire life. And then they get old enough, they get a car, they move out, and they start eating McDonald's every day and crap every day. Okay, but that's still their choice. If they want to have diabetes, you can't stop a human being from being a human being, whether it's your child or not. You teach them good habits, you get them started, and then they're going to make their own decisions. Bad ones, good ones, all kinds in between. So you can't prevent that. But while you can teach them and while they are under your control, they do what the fuck you say. I think we forget that. The pussification of America, we forget that you are in charge. You should do whatever the fuck you want with your own children. Except for beating them relentlessly and molesting them and all that fucked up shit. But you know what I mean. I gotta clarify that nowadays on social. Well, he said you could do whatever you could to your kids. Oh, shush. And he had anal probe on the board. Where is he anal probing kids? No, shut up. Haters. Get the kids involved. I got a 5-year-old making his own kale smoothies. Bouse. Starve the wife. Yeah, starve the wife. Starve the wife. Starve the... Oh, I just burped. That's karma. Starve the wife. Everyone, starve the wife. Starve the wife. Starve the husband too. Starve your significant other. Starve your significant other until they abide by your commands. You's in charge, especially if you're the breadwinner. If you're the one working, and let's say your spouse is the one that's not, the money all of a sudden disappears next time you go to the Tostitos aisle. Magically. Nah, get on the same page. You're in control. You're in control of what you bring into your house. Samantha Turner, what does everyone do with unused fruit and veggies? Compost, fermentation, freeze? That's a good question for the community. What do you do with unused? I mean, if it's an unused banana peel, I don't know if anyone's freezing it. I don't know what you would freeze a banana peel for. You throw it outside in the grass, let the birds eat it. But yeah, there are ways you can use that kind of stuff, like compost and shit like that. So any other questions? Good questions. So I will be... Yeah, for those of you that are in, so those of you that have a platinum and gold memberships with Swolenormous X, I'll post this up in the Facebook group. I'll post a link to this article and which has the study in it, and we can have that a little more conversation there. So if you have any other comments or anything you want me to check out, remember, fam, if you have any studies or things that you want to send my way, feel free to message me. I'm happy to look at it when I get a chance. But this concept behind healthy food being more expensive. Sometimes in the short term, healthy because of the market and because the companies know that we associate price with quality and quality with health and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to keep on charging more because they can charge more. They're going to charge more because they can charge us more. That's it. If no one bought a Ferrari for $500,000, Ferraris would not be $500,000. So they're priced because people will pay a certain price for them. When these rare car companies make $1 million car, it's because they're pre-ordered and 30 orders come in for $1.5 million. So they make the car. It's worth it to them. So if we're not paying for this anymore, if no one's paying $1 million for a Bugatti, Bugattis will either not be made or they'll make a Bugatti that does not cost $1 million. It'll cost 100,000 or 150. So things keep on increasing in price because people pay and companies will squeeze out more. So let's say you have 100 customers and you're charging $100. So it's like, well, what if I charge 150? You might have 80 customers, but the difference, you're still making more money as a company. So, okay, 150. What if I charge $200,000? Well, then I only have 60 customers, but I'm making, so it offsets. So eventually you have these elite prices for these cars, or you have higher prices for food. And these price points are set specifically because the company is making enough margin. The company's making enough, or Whole Foods is charging enough for the price. The manufacturer makes money. Whole Foods can make money. They can pay their employees. They can pay the shipping. They can pay the distribution. It's all worth it to everyone. So if those blueberries that the company might be selling to Whole Foods for $4 a box, Whole Foods has to charge $6.50 or $7.50 for them to offset the cost of shipping, make profit, pay their employees, and then still make a little bit of money after. Whole Foods might only make 50 cents on one of those blueberry containers. 50 cents after everything's said and done. They clear 50 cents or 30 cents. But if you sell 10,000 of them, 10,000 times 30 cents, and then you start to see the pattern. So margin, and that is just it's just part of it. So someone will charge as much as they can for a product. If they can charge 100, they'll charge 100. If people will pay 100, they'll charge 100. They might even try charging more. So there's a lot of psychology. And just so you're aware of it, it's your own psychology, and it's the buyer's mentality that expense and price is associated with quality. And that's not always the case. Sometimes there's amazing value, just like everyone in Swolenormous X, amazing value that you don't expect, So sometimes it doesn't correlate exactly. Amazon is going to fix Whole Foods next Prime Day. What do you mean fix Whole Foods? Like for a day? They've been discounting a couple things here and there. I don't know the latest, what they're going to be doing. But Amazon already has their own stores coming out, Amazon Go, where you don't have to use any money or use any wallets. You just go in with the app and pick up food and walk out, and it scans everything automatically. Things are going to get a lot cooler. Not to mention, it's just delivery. Eventually, you can just order food. So eventually, you'll tell your Alexa what food you want, and then it'll deliver by drone. Alexa off. I can't even say that. I have to mute her. So, Alexa, how much is organic food? Let's see what she says.
The top search result for organic food is Navitas Organics Blueberry Hemp Superfood Power Snack.
Oh, you're
It's $5.63.
Alexa off. She's giving me a supplement on Amazon. Okay, I'll take one question. What up from Richmond, Papa Swole? Just started listening a few weeks ago, and I'm hooked. Keep up the great. Man, it's much appreciated. You're welcome, Sean. Thanks for watching. So everyone, until we're getting drone deliveries from Amazon and delivering our organic food straight to our door, just understand that it might not be quite as much as you think it is. It's our idea of price. It's our idea of what it costs. And a lot of times it's our bias that more expensive is better. Not to mention a lot of stuff in Whole Foods, for example, is not healthy. A lot of stuff in Whole Foods is not healthy. I did that post on Instagram yesterday. About fat vegans and just pretty much fat vegetarians and fat gluten-free and fat everyone that associates that kind of diet with health. I mean, donuts could be vegan and gluten-free. Candy. So What are you associating with health? What are you contributing to health? I get my grass-fed beef from Publix. I don't go to Whole Foods for that stuff. You just have to find, you can get them ordered online. You can order in bulk. You can order massive half a cow. You can order things in bulk. That makes it less expensive. Go in with it with friends and stuff like that. Anyway, that's that. Just some food for thought. Get it? Food for thought. All the puns. Papa Swole is so punny. Got my beard game strong. Gonna get a sick pump today. I hope you do the same. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me for episode 641 of The Swole. Remember, make sure to follow me on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast. Check that out for all the deets and Swolenormous X members. I'm going to do my very best today to get up the next virtual training, chest and back superset. Ooh, superset. What's that? It's a nasty workout. So I hope you enjoy that. When I get online, I'll send out a notification to all Swolenormous X members when I post that. So it's lit. That was a good one. Oh, I get sore thinking about it. So hope you enjoy that. So love you guys. Peace, McGeese. Deuce, Magoose. Papa Swolio. Out.